What's an incredible fact that most people don't know about? The Amazon River is over 4,000 miles long and doesn't have any bridges that cross it. All of the gold discovered thus far would fit in a cube that is 23 meters wide on every side. Sharks predate trees. In mid-2000s Kagoshima, Japan, an alarming rise in power blackouts was traced back to crows who were building their nests on top of electric poles. The power company formed a crow patrol in order to seek and destroy the crows' nests. The crows responded by building thousands of dummy nests as decoys. The war is ongoing. Switzerland, the country of neutrality, has unintentionally invaded its neighbor Liechtenstein 5 times. 1968-2007. 3-4 times. Liechtenstein didn't know of it until Switzerland apologized. The 1-4 was that one time Switzerland fired a missile and caused a forest fire. Reparations were paid. After one incident, the Liechtensteiners reportedly offered drinks to the Swiss soldiers. A Liechtenstein spokesman said, "It's not like they invaded with attack helicopters." WD-40 removes road tar from your car. If your intestines are in the way during abdominal surgery, standard procedure is to scoop them out and dump them in a bowl for the duration. Then basically pour them back in when you're done. As long as you don't pull enough to create an actual knot, the guts will wiggle themselves back into exactly the same shape and configuration they had before being disturbed. The softest wood in the world is considered a hardwood. You have a holy face. Your sinuses are big empty cavities in your skull. The maxillary sinus is the biggest, it's just under your eye under the cheekbones, and I swear you could fit 3 grapes in each one. Except for when they are full of snot. Most homicides in the world are not solved. The earliest known public museum dates to circa 530 BCE and it had archaeological Mesopotamian artifacts on display. In Turkey, the country Turkey meat is called Hindi India. Johnny Appleseed is a legendary character and we know of him because he spread alcohol through the frontier. He was planting apples for alcohol and was welcomed by so many in their homes because he brought a jug of cider to every home he visited. All of the planets in our solar system, if laid side by side, would fit between the Earth and the Moon. In water, sound can project downwards, bend back up, hit the surface from below, reflect, go down again, and bend back towards the surface multiple times. There are more plastic pink flamingos than real pink flamingos. Squirrels can't find 80 of the nuts they hide. About 90 of humans live on the northern hemisphere. Not mind-blowing but worth sharing, there are more libraries in the US than there are Starbucks. Otters have pouches in their sides they keep their favorite rocks in for smashing open clams. It's not just simians that use tools. A long-ass time ago a dude in Egypt paid a guy to walk 8,000 kilometers to a tower to measure the length of its shadow. That's how we found out the Earth was round. Edit 800 kilometers, I stand corrected. Still, quite the trip. I hope he paid well. There are craters on the poles of Mercury that are so deep that rays of light from the sun have never directly struck their bottoms. And scientists have found evidence of water ice at the bottom of these craters. You only need 39 digits of pi to calculate the radius of the universe to the width of a single atom. It sounds BS, but it's true. For the average engineer or scientist, you'll never need more than 3.141. Objects orbiting around the planet, like the ISS, stay up there because they're constantly in freefall. They fall down while also moving forward and end up falling over the horizon. Things inside experience weightlessness because everything is in constant freefall rather than due to the absence of gravity. Enough people seem to get surprised by this, so I thought of adding it here. Solar eclipses are a completely random quirk of arbitrary factors. The Sun is roughly 400x bigger than the Moon. The Sun is also roughly 400x further away from Earth than the Moon. Nothing created or enforces that ratio. It's just a random happenstance that from our view, on the surface of this planet, the Sun and Moon seem roughly the same size, and can perfectly overlap. In 1944, 9 American airmen were shot down over the island Chichijima. 8 were captured by Japanese troops and executed. At least 4 were cannibalized by Japanese officers. Reports vary if it was for reasons of starvation or ritual. 1 airman evaded capture and was eventually rescued. 44 years later he was elected President of the United States. Google the Chichijima incident for more info. The chainsaw was invented as a tool to aid in childbirth, rotating blades to get through the pelvic bone. Each human cell in your body has over 2 meters 6 feet of DNA in it. In Uranus it rains giant diamonds. Chicago, the Windy City, is known for political wind, not regular wind. Felix Baumgartner doesn't have the record for the highest altitude free jump. He did jump from 128 feet 39 kilometers in 2012. And very publicly. But then Alan Eustace, with almost no fanfare, jumped from 135 feet 41.4 kilometers in 2014. Everything you see around you is literally created by the interaction of electrons and photons. Except radiation and gravity. 3 basic actions create it all. 1. A photon goes from place to place. 2. An electron goes from place to place. 3. An electron emits or absorbs a photon. Literally, that's it. Shirley Temple led an extremely successful life as a diplomat after her childhood acting career. She was present in Czechoslovakia when the Soviets cracked down on them, as in, she seen people killed. Later, after the fall of the USSR, she was the head of establishing diplomatic relations between the US and Czechoslovakia. People used to use hollowed human skulls for cups and bowls in ancient England. Ferns coexisted during the dinosaur era, and there are over 1 million varieties of fern on planet Earth today. Everyone you meet knows something that you don't. That if you enter on a freeway the wrong way at night, all the reflectors you see on the freeway will reflect as red. Hopefully the driver can figure out something is wrong and at least pull over. Studies show that taking steroids and not exercising builds more muscle than exercising without taking steroids. The percentage of obese people who get to and maintain a healthy weight is statistically lower than the percentage of people who survive a gunshot to the head. Wombats can kill predators chasing them with their butts by crushing the predator's head against the wall of their burrow. And they have square poops. The Japanese Empire committed more atrocities and crimes against humanity than Nazi Germany. Much of this was left out of our history books for unknown reasons. Imperial Japan conquered most of the Indo-Pacific and killed 30 million civilians in their wake. Cannibalism, the slaughter and starvation of prisoners of war, rape and enforced prostitution, the murder of non-combatants, and biological warfare experiments. Imperial Japan had a militaristic culture which believed in death before dishonor. Fighting to the death. Surrender was not an option. Joe Biden's birth was closer to Abe Lincoln's death than to the day he was elected president. Same with Trump. People aren't persuaded to change their views with facts, and this has been studied and proven. There's a YouTube video on the Braincraft channel about this. It was put up in the last day or so if anyone is curious.